So this webinar series, this webinar is about the new features and fixes we made with version 1.028, which was released last Thursday night. And we added and fixed a bunch of things. Sometimes we sent out a hot fix to fix it in between versions, but that was kind of the first major release we did in a while. And we worked on a couple of important things. In terms of the integrations, we added 2 integrations. We added DocuSign integration, and that DocuSign integration allows you to send a sales order via, or a quote. In this case, I think we have a quote. Allows you to send a quote via DocuSign. So if I wanted to sign up for that, I can send a quote, and there's that little box there, and I would basically enter, it's like sending an email. And what would happen is that it would basically show that we've sent a quote and ask for a signature. Once the signature is done by the recipient, it would add the signed copy automatically and also create an activity for you to say, hey, this has now been signed, take a look. All right, so it's nice we have one customer using that. We've also added another integration which is called Freight Print, which is part of our shipping integrations, and Freight Print happens to be a company that does kind of full load LTL, and they manage your shippers, and they try to aggregate and get you the best shipping cost based on their network of shipments. And so if you're on a ship dock and you have that enabled, you would see a Freight Print button here, and it would create automatically what's called a load in Freight Print, and you would therefore be able to have that all the information like the address and the weights and stuff like that, so you can get an estimate on your. And then we also have kind of a reference to it under the tracking number. You can click on it and go right into Freight Print. Okay. So those are the 2 integrations we added. On the email templates, we've also made a couple of changes. So let's go into one here, and you can see here that I now can toggle between HTML and text. Okay, so HTML gives you the ability to format basically anything you want and align and all the tools, the WYSIWYG tools. It still works with your tokens, so you would add the tokens the same way you would add anything else. Okay, so just like that. Okay. All right. Now we also added the ability to have kind of a default BCC on all the emails as well. We've added some more functionality to the reporting side of things. So first, the matrix reports. You're familiar with the matrix reports, where you would have, in this case, it's just a customer pivot that has the customer name and the date on top, and then we're just basically summing up. So what we've come up with is that if it's a data, you can now show comparatives. So without the comparatives, it just shows kind of just the one column with the total. If I put on the comparatives, so again, that's to the subtotal to the data line, I can show prior year, and we can show the absolute change and the percentage change. So now you can see the prior year compared to the current year. So this is our sales year to date, and we can see the change both in absolute and percentage. So that will work on any one of your pivot tables or pivot reports, where the pivot is the date. It only works obviously if the pivot is the date. If the pivot is not the date, that gets ignored completely. Okay. The other report that we came up with, a completely new style of report that we're kind of testing, and it's called the valuation report. It's called the ledger type report. So this is a ledger type report, and only certain sources can be used in a ledger type report. The ledger type reports that can be used are the customer ledger, inventory movement with bins, and inventory movement by location. And the idea behind the ledger report is it has kind of a starting and a running balance. So, for example, this item over here in a specific location, let me just filter by that specific item so we can clearly see here. And filter by that item ID.
Hey, Ian,
yeah.
Can you close your door? Josh is pretty loud in the background.
Sorry. Sorry about that. I can't tell Josh not to speak so loud. All right, so
there we go.
Let's take a look at just this report. It kind of makes it a little clearer. So we're showing all the locations here, and what this is the starting balance. So this is this current month. So we're starting with the current balance here, and then we're just kind of extending it down so we can see the total quantity. In this, I have two columns here. These are called running total columns. So let's just take a look at how so it's basically the same kind of structure, except that the type is called ledger. And in this case, I have two groupings. All right, so I have to have at least one grouping. Now, in this case, I have two groupings. I have location first and then item. All right. I have to have a date column. All right, so I have to have at least one grouping column. I have to have at least one date column, one and only date column actually, or one date column that's actually a ledger column called date. All right, and have ledger column called grouping. Then I have other columns that are just data. Right, these are just data columns that I don't really care about. And then the most important thing, which always appear at the end of the report, are the running total columns. Right? The running total columns. And then the filters and the sort bys are the same. Okay? So I'll view that, and there's that report. I'm going to customize it and just kind of show you this year, let's say this year to date for this particular item. And it'll have a lot of transactions, but you can see kind of the ins and the outs starting from the first of the year, and then the running total is this, the transactions are that, the valuation is the same idea, and then the total at the end. Okay, so that's called a ledger report, and you can definitely take a look at that. If you don't already know, you can go to our help guide and go to and find under new articles the update notes. Okay, so the update notes are part of the kind of the home area, notes and troubleshooting, and then you just go to release notes and there they are. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of these, and then Michael just showed you some things over there. So some of the things that you've asked for in the past, for example, the ability to do the batch action on the customer return, the ability to close off activities, again, using the batch action, or change the status of activities using the batch action. So I could come in here and change the status to close as opposed to having to do that one at a time. That's available from the list. So you can get to that activities list either from the home screen, you just go all the way to the bottom, go open list, or you can go open full list activities. Okay, so those are the couple of things that in terms of that, it spoke about the reports. Some of the, we've added the total number of records on the reports, so you can take a look at that, see how many records you actually have. And so that's that. We did update the charts at some point. They weren't showing here. So we've updated the code on that, make sure they load faster, and they load kind of nice on that. You can take a look at some of the things that we've added to QuickBooks synchronization, especially QBO. What we've added to the reports, like dependencies to the reports and things like that. Okay. In terms of there's a couple of things I wanted to show you that everybody I think will be interested in on the sales order side, and we added a couple of new properties to the sales order, and those are that can be viewed on the sales order. People have asked for, I know that you have kind of the standard costs and and the price. It would be great if you can show the margins. So we've added that capability. So for example, I'm going to go to my transaction editor, or my transaction details, my sales order over here, and we have these new fields called total markup, total margin percentage, total quantity, total standard cost, and we've always had total volume and total weight. So that is a nice piece of data as you're creating your reports or your quotes or your sales orders. It would be nice to know what we can anticipate based on the standard cost, what the total profit is going to be. So we're going to generate 90 and we're going to make a total profit, and that's simply adding up the standard costs and taking the difference with the price. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, and you can also update that on the fly. So if you do update any of these values, you can see the margin changing appropriately All right, so you can see that margin is going down because the price is going down. Okay. So that you can also add the percentages, and it'd be a good thing. You can also add it because it's just another field or property. You can add it to your labels and your templates if you so choose. Okay. So we've also fixed a lot of errors, over time. Like I said, we probably hot fixed 90% of those things. I now want to move over a little bit to the B2B portal and some of the changes that we made there. So we're going to go there now. And in terms of the B2B portal, we had some suggestions with regard to allowing customers to self-register and what their price level is going to be and what their categories are going to be. And at first we just had the terms in here. So what we did is expand on the customer types profile list. And I'm going to show you that right now. So we go to customer types, and now in the customer type you can define the price level, the initial term, and this will follow the customer. So for example, if I change this, all our OEM customer types will get that term and this category as well, and these categories as well. So these are the kind of the B2B categories, and we can define what the term is. So when you allow self-register, all you have to do is define the customer type, and it'll know what the terms are, what the price level and which categories the user has the right to see. We also kind of made, there was some errors with some of the filters, date filters and Boolean filters, yes, no filters. You can also add those now as well. And then, of course, the categories, we made the columns a little bit larger. We have a preference to completely hide the payments. So if you don't, just want to have the ordering system work and the just allow customers to order. I mean, you can even turn off ordering completely. Just have it as a way for them to look at inventory and look at their order status. So that's that. And then we added, here's enable the payments. Some of you have asked if a customer can enter a memo or a promise date manually, you can now do that as well. So that would allow the customers to set their own promise date, enter a memo, and then this is ability to create a linked PO after a sales order is created. Okay, that generally creates a linked PO. So I'm going to kind of open it up for some questions. Does anybody have any questions about the newest version on order time or the B2B portal? It's pretty easy.
And to ask your question, you can just click in the top right, click on the chat icon, and type in the chat right here.
Yeah. Now another thing I wanted to point out to you, something that we're also working on that we haven't sent out an email yet, but the mobile has also been updated. The Apple has also been updated, and in the newest version now you can check out a purchase order and scan inbound inventory. Uploading creates a receiver. Okay, so and we'll put out a video about that, but if you kind of want to try that, we'd be happy for you to do that. And it just basically follows the purchasing cycle to the T. Basically, you check out a purchase order, you scan your parts in the device itself, upload, creates a receiver. It's as simple as that. And you can scan bins, and you can scan lot numbers, and items, etc. So that's something else that you might want to take a look at in terms of things that we've been doing this version.
We have a question. Will removing the cart be an option in B2B where people can see products but no pricing at all? I think we went over this, but can you show them how that's done?
The B2B, it's basically, if you don't want to show pricing at all, you go into the customer portal, you configure your portal here, and all you have to do is remove. See the columns on the products? All you have to do is remove that, and they don't see the prices. It's as simple as that. They don't do that.
And then you can also set it so that they can't cart, right?
Yeah. So in terms of the account, you just uncheck that.
Yeah, you uncheck allow customer to create sales orders, and then they can't cart.
Yeah. At this point, it's just what you have, and what kind of products you have, and order status and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that reminds, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and I wanted to answer the next question. Yeah, this video is being recorded. Afterwards, I'll create it and put it up on YouTube, and then I'll send out the link.
Yes. Talking about the cart, there is another. You can have visibility on all the carts within order time itself. Okay, within order time itself, you can have visibility. If you have the B2B enabled, you can see here that I've added that as well in here as well. Okay, so I added a tab specifically for that customer, and you can also from the sales you can kind of see the cart, and obviously you can see the linked PO. I mean, if they created a sales order, and you can also see the actual cart, kind of very simplistic. In this case, the cart hasn't been started yet. This cart is, so this is what the customer ordered, and that's the cart details. So you can add activities and stuff to the cart. So this is just a view. So as your customers are maybe working on your cart, adding items and stuff like that, you can see what they're up to.
And there's a full list for this also?
Mm-hmm. So you go into sales, and then down here, it's part of the quick links.
Oh, okay.
It's part of the quick links. Okay, so you go in here, and there's carts, and then there they are. This is every single cart.
Okay.
Okay. Each cart, of course, has an ID and how it's, and which sales order it actually converts to. The ones that don't have a link are either abandoned, or they're not finished carts.
And the next question was about order time WH, the iPhone app. Is that an extra charge?
No. You just need a user to log in, because obviously when you do something in the WH, it'll create a receiver, and you want to make sure that the person doing that has, logging in, has the right to do a receiver. And so no, you just download it from the web, from Apple. By the way, we're also hopefully a month away from having Android as well. We're working on that as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you show in the properties where they activate their mobile?
Yep. So you go to the admin section, which is the company name on top. You click on preferences, and then there's mobile here, right? And then you just check this little box here. Okay.
And then there's a button right there too for you to click on to download from the App Store. That'll take you directly to the App Store listing.
Right. You want to do that on your phone. You can open that on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it works on the iPad as well. I mean, it's obviously much bigger on the iPad, and it uses the phone for scanning. I mean, the camera for scanning. It works pretty well. It's fast.
Mm-hmm.
It works pretty well. You'll see a video on that very shortly.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
We also, we're also working. We also did quite a bit of work on kind of improving, page loads and stuff like that. We continue to do that as we go along as well. So we did a little bit of that. We cut the footprint of the page by at least a half more. So you should see a little bit of improvement on that end as well. That's about it. If you have any other questions, feel free to. Is there ever going to be an app for order time? That was one of the questions, Michael.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the app. What we're going to do eventually is keep on improving the app that we have right now. Eventually, this will drop off, and we'll have menu items for sales and for all of a lot of different work orders, sales. Not the full app. Kind of the things that you need to do quickly on an app, like maybe create a new customer, quickly create an order or something like that, do a work order, move inventory. Those are the things that that is a little bit cumbersome with a website to do on a device. Those are the types of things that we're interested in adding over time.
Yeah, pretty much all the warehousing activities and then the sales activities and receiving.
Correct. Any questions on that?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining. We're going to save this video. You're going to get an email shortly on all this, and keep the ideas coming. Your ideas, as you can see, some of the ideas. One other thing I wanted to say about the B2B. Actually, I forgot this is pretty important. Which is the how the customer items are filtered. This is a big question about that. How do you restrict a customer to only certain items? You can show all. You can use the customers, and we added this customer item price level. So if your customers have a customer item price level in the profile list price levels, then we will only show them those items. All right, so there are 3 ways to kind of filter: none, customer, the categories, or use the price levels. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Be safe.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.